Hey guys, welcome back to Bets in Bed, pretty much the best betting show on the internet.
I've seen no one with a better record.
Exactly.
And I haven't looked.
Yep. So we are the Fight Me Bros. I'm Matt. This is Nick. And this week we actually have a couple of different cards to bet on. Last week we had a pretty slim card, seeing that it was Anderson Silva and
Injuries took half our picks out.
Yeah.
I think we lost some picks to injury.
So I think I went 1-1. You went
3-2.
3-2.
One of those two being the difference on the De La Rosa finish, though. I don't know if just for those keeping score at home, that was a profit 3-2. Not
the loss still counts. But this week there's actually a loaded slate of fights. So Friday night there's Bellator fights with Matt Mitrione fighting.
going on as we're recording, but we both looked at the card prior. Nothing cooking that we want to bet on there, so we're just basically skipping that.
Yep. And then Saturday we got the MVP versus Paul Daly fight. I don't think either of us are betting the Bellator card, although I would say if you don't have much going on a Saturday night, I wouldn't be against putting some money on Paul Daly at plus 180.
100%. If you have disposable income, I agree. We were just looking at records. I've been doing a lot of. I stick with what works. If I find a trend that works, I go with it. And right now I've been going with level of competition. Paul Daly's been in there with guys that were good. Granted, Paul Daly's had a much longer career than MVP in the cage. I know MVP's got a long kickboxing career, but MVP's best in-cage win is against Dave Rickles, whose best win that's aged is probably against maybe Davi Ramos, and he got him in his fifth fight. So Dave Rickles by no means like some sort of budding star and. Star because I love his caveman thing, but I'm saying he's not winning he's not beating Khabib anytime soon.
Yeah, no.
Basically. So I don't think that your MVP really is going to have. I don't think he's going to overwhelm him the way a minus 220 should overwhelm somebody.
I think
I don't know why it took me so long to spit that out.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much what I'm getting at.
This should be like a minus 115, minus 115.
Yeah, very
and plus,
even.
It's also very fun to bet on grudge matches, and these two really fucking hate each other. But as far as the betting this week, we're just going to keep it to the ESPN on... what is it? UFC on ESPN 1. They really got to fix those titles because these names are becoming exhausting.
You need a full-blown Pokedex of UFC event names.
It's ridiculous, especially with the... UFC on ESPN 1, UFC on ESPN Plus, and they're going to do it ESPN 2.
It's a nightmare.
I can't wait for ESPN UFC on ESPN Deportes. It's going to be fantastic.
The Ocho.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be Yair Rodriguez as that liner.
Always.
But, low-key, a pretty good card. Actually, high-key, a pretty good card, especially compared to last week.
So much better.
Although I will say, there's a lot of good fights on this card.
Hard to bet on.
Yeah, hat tip to Mick Maynard and the fight-making crew because I feel like a lot of these are coin flips as well as just interesting style matchups that are very hard to read. So that being said, Nick, how many bets do you have?
I got 4 fights in, so
right.
You've got a ton more.
Yeah,
so.
I got 6 fights, and to be honest...
Trigger happy after that two bet week last week.
Seeing that it's a Sunday, and these are my favorite times to bet because there's nothing better than betting on some fighting after a hungover Sunday.
Gambling is like the cure to the scaries. Everyone knows that. Until you start losing.
I will be betting on probably 90% of these fights. These are just the bets that I feel confident on.
So half the card.
Exactly. Yeah. So first of my 6 fights that I'm betting on is going to come in the Barao-Saunders fight. At first, when I saw the line at plus 155 for Barao, I thought, okay, this is kind of... I know Barao's been on a skid, but still, it's Luke Saunders.
You definitely didn't look at how bad the skid was.
Well, then I looked a little bit more at the skid, revisited his last fight, and saw that his chin is very suspect, as well as Barao off of steroids is not nearly as intimidating as Barao on steroids. But then I went to look at Luke Saunders, and I saw 2 out of the last 3 of his losses have come via submissions to a Brazilian. Helps that Barao is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So pretty much these guys are each other's kryptonite, where Saunders is going to try and knock Barao's head off, and Barao has an opportunity to submit him. So I'm going to stay away from picking a side and go with the under of 2.5 rounds at plus 110. I feel like either Saunders is going to knock him out or Barao's going to submit him.
Didn't see that coming. Very interesting.
I literally went back and forth. Like, I had written down both of these guys on my betting sheet probably twice each way. But that's my first pick.
Interesting. Okay, so my first pick, I think this might be the first fight of the card, but the rarely seen Alexandra Albu taking on Emily Whitmire. I've got Albu at minus 125. It has absolutely nothing to do with Albu being a good fighter because she's not. Like, she's really only good at like moving a shitload of weight in the gym.
She's headlining,
throwing ass.
She's starting the prelims for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, she's throwing that ass in a circle on Instagram. But the one, like I said, moving ridiculous amounts of weight in the gym. This is a classic. She's fighting such low level people that just being super athletic, especially in, still realistically, even women's strawweight is only in the UFC. What are we, like 6 years into it, 7 years into it?
Yeah,
it's not that much. It might not even be that much, but
probably not.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, still, comparatively speaking to MMA as a whole, a very young division, so you could get away with just kind of like super athleting people. That's what she's going to do. I think that she's going to probably eat some shots, and I don't think. But as soon as the line started up at like 170, and I was full out. But as it came down, it's now down at minus 125. I think for that, you can look for her to just bank 2 rounds of just bear hugging Whitmire to the ground and kind of pounding her. Because Emily Whitmire, also very bad.
Yeah.
I'm just really, again, we're kind of reaching, but it's not a great fight.
Yeah.
Hopefully hopefully somewhere in the highlight packages, they just scroll through Albu's Instagram. But I think that it's really a lot of bear hugs, a lot of trips, a lot of just muscle takedowns. You're not going to see like DC's slick ankle picks. It's going to be ugly, but I think it'll be a comfortable 2 rounds. I'll give Whitmire a round, 2 rounds to 1 decision.
I wish there was a bet on whether or not the fight will be super boring or just super shitty. Like, I would bet that at
there's like a fan live vote where you thumbs up, thumbs down it. And then
I would eat my own. If this wins fight of the night, I will eat my own hat. That's on record. We'll put that on the card.
Yeah, right. I don't think you need to worry.
All right. Well, my next fight is actually also in the chick realm. This is going to be in the Ashley Evans Smith, Andrea KGB Lee. Some of you may know Andrea Lee from being the most popular redneck in the UFC. Also, she's been in the news a lot lately for defending her racist husband that had a litany.
Is she still doing that?
Well, no, seeing that didn't the husband end up...
he beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, he beat the shit out of her and then magically just disappeared, probably in Mexico somewhere.
How is he still on the run?
Still on the run.
How have they not caught him?
And then I saw an interview saying that she said this whole training process has helped with the traumatic case. This type of stuff never plays well for a fight camp. Just look at Ostovich. I feel like it's very hard. It's hard enough to prepare for a fight. It's harder when you have a bunch of backlash coming at you from every direction. But that's not the only reason I'm betting on Ashley Evans Smith. I rewatched the Macedo versus KGB fight, and KGB obviously handled business there, but I wasn't wildly impressed by her striking, as well as I think where she was able to capitalize is being a bully in the clinch and just fucking Macedo up, and Macedo's a lot smaller. Smith is fucking massive at 125. From dropping down to 135 to 125, I don't think KGB is going to be able to bully her. I think she's going to make it pretty ugly with some dirty boxing, so I like her as the underdog at plus 145.
Okay. I've got next, we go to Crone Gracie, Bruce Leroy. This is like layup city.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going Crone inside the distance. Minus 190. I didn't even see a line for Crone submission, probably because they're like, that's stealing. You can't. Yeah. You're not allowed to steal from Vegas.
That's getting greedy.
Yeah, like that's you're right. It's just like, but Bruce Leroy 8-8. I mean, this guy all sauce, no substance. That's how I would describe it. I mean, it's spinning kicks, got him, cool twirling capoeira, whatever, got it, check. Basic jab defense, absent. Yeah. Basic takedown defense, absent. Like, he's submitted some people, but holy shit, I don't even think those people are employed by the UFC anymore. So it's just, I don't see. And some of the people, he's been submitted by Jason Knight, been submitted by Uriah Faber, all people who are not Crone Gracie.
Yeah, and not birth child of literally the Gracie family.
Yeah, and I just, don't get me wrong, the way I was trying to explain this to somebody else too is there's like an alternate universe somewhere where Alex Caceres like jabs in circles his way to a 3-round decision that's kind of lopsided and boring. But this is going to be quite, that that's not this universe. Like, this is going to be very reminiscent of the Damian Maia. I already forgot the guy's name.
Probably doesn't matter then.
Yeah, Lyman Good. Yeah, there we go. Damian Maia, Lyman Good fight 2 weeks ago. It's only going to take one take. With one takedown, this is over. And I think that that's going to come relatively early because Caceres is not going to be able to figure out how to stop that.
I think the path to victory is there for Caceres, but he doesn't care about that type of shit. He just wants to make it flashy, make it fun, and that's going to lead to a loss. I almost added this to my card based on the sole reason that there was an interview, I think just yesterday, and Kron Gracie, without even being sarcastic, was saying, I was really hoping I would get someone better for my first debut, and it came off as so genuine and just raw disrespect where he really doesn't respect Caceres as a fighter. And I know sometimes that could lead to
not with Alex Caceres.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried with Alex Caceres. I think he's gonna submit the fuck out.
Also,
of him.
side note: if Kron comes out with the Gracie train, and you need to have your book ready to go to put down an extra 40 units.
Oh yeah.
If he comes out on the Gracie train, just an FYI.
No, that's smart. My next fight, again, another one of these fights that I feel like you could go back and forth each way. It's gonna be the Jimmy Rivera versus Aljamain Sterling. Both fucking absolute monsters at 135. Both got KO'd very nastily to Marlon Moraes. It's crazy how stacked that division is. But I'm going with Jimmy Rivera in this, mainly because I feel like Aljamain Sterling, where he's really able to separate himself and pull away is when he's able to take people down. And I just don't see him being able to take Rivera down. And I like Rivera's boxing a little bit more. I think he's got a little bit more savvy to him. He's going to be able to close the distance. And I would be surprised if he finishes it here. But I like Rivera here. He's just, people forget he's still really fucking good.
Disagree.
Ooh,
I got Sterling. I don't think it's going to be... what I really wanted to do with this is I really wanted the over. But at minus 300, I couldn't... especially since they both just got knocked out. That made me a little gun-shy to go over. That was what I really had eyed up on this fight. But I do like Sterling. We've seen him. I think he got robbed in the Asuncao fight where he kicked. I think he did get robbed there. I think this could look pretty similar. And also, they were going through the I've looked through the archives of the grapplers that Rivera's fought. And I think Faber's up there for sure. Definitely a great grappler. But by the time he fought Rivera, it was kind of like, all right, show's over. We're on the Kobe tour now. You're just chucking up 62 shots a game. I think that Sterling, he's not going to be able to get him down consistently at all. I don't think that that's going to be the case, but I think 1 or 2 takedowns plus that outside kicking game could be enough to squeeze out a decision. So him being the dog on the other side at plus 115, not a huge dog, obviously, but still just I think the path to victory is there, and this is, I think either way, it's going to be a super close fight, so I'm just erring on the side of the dog. And I do think that it's if Sterling can win one round with those long kicks, similar to how he did with Asuncao, and then win one round with a takedown, and then Rivera might snatch the other one up somewhere in there with the boxing. But I think that that's probably the formula. I don't see anybody finishing anybody.
This fight's kind of like a hedge for me because I like Aljamain Sterling a lot. I love that he's a part of the Long Island Goon Squad that we all know and love. So I wouldn't be mad if he beats Rivera because this would be the win to get him to that next level. The only problem is Aljamain Sterling, it seems, when he's in the position to get that win, to get him to the next level, he falls short. So I'm kind of erring on that side. But I wouldn't be mad at all if he won.
That's probably that low-key, unless it turns into the supers. If it's somewhere in between both of those guys' fights with Marlon Moraes and Aljamain Sterling's fight with Asuncao, where that was pretty boring, and then the other ones had a knockout. If you can just kind of up the intensity, that's a low key. I like that low key fight of the night.
It's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be close, maybe controversial, but where is this fight again? Okay, Phoenix, right?
Yeah, no, there's no.
I was gonna say if there was some home, but plus they're both from New York though. But if this was in a Brooklyn card and it was Jimmy Rivera, then
is fucked up.
Well, we'll see. So I guess I'll go a second one because I have more than you. My next bet is the Miles Jury versus Andre Fili fight. This is a real technical analysis, but I'm gonna keep it short. I don't really like Andre Fili that much. His tattoos piss me off.
I feel like you bet against him every time, and that's been the justification. Just straight up don't like him.
I really don't like Fili. He annoys me. His face annoys me. Unless you want to come on the podcast, then you're my best friend. His tattoos kind of suck. He's got some low key, like sneaky good takedowns, but I like Miles Jury based on that alone, minus 145.
Hot take.
Yeah.
Real expert analysis.
And then, how many do you guys got your lock of the week?
One, yeah.
Okay, so I got one more. This is in the main event. Francis Ngannou versus Cain Velasquez. C-level Cain, at about 5 years ago, I would put my fucking life that he wins this fight. Cain Velasquez, that we just saw get pictured the other day looking like some sort of sea creature. Not exactly.
Old.
That was a downright disrespectful, like,
that's mean
picture.
Of the camera.
Yeah, it was mean of the camera person to allow that to be published.
Take that in the back and touch that up a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Give him some abs. And it's just...
Not that he ever had them, but he looked like... Before
like
he was
athlete,
like... Before,
maybe?
yeah, before it was like, oh, he was like the thick wrestling guy. There's always that guy where he's not shredded, but he's just thick wrestling guy.
Exactly.
He looked like old droopy titty wrestling guy.
And I feel like...
And it was sad.
Basically, this fight is just betting on whether or not Cain's body is going to hold up.
Yeah.
And after seeing pictures, it's leading to every sign that, oh, maybe the guy with 16 torn rotator cuffs and no ACLs, maybe that guy's body is starting to decline. At 36 years old, after being off that long, after being off that long and being that injured, to come back in the ring and have your first live go against Francis Ngannou, who like hits harder than fuck, he's gonna get jarred very early, I think, and I think it's a bad style matchup for Francis. And if we do get a version of Cain that looks 70% of what he used to be, I think he takes the fight. I just don't think that's the Cain that's coming out. So I'm going Francis plus 140.
As much as I think a lot of people like Cain, I think everybody just kind of wants to see Francis obliterate him. I think people like when Francis is like up at the top.
Yeah,
things were more fun when there was a guy that could just destroy lives with
like
an uppercut.
When people say it's like, oh, NCAA football's funner when Notre Dame's good. It's like, the UFC heavyweight division's funnier, or not funnier, but more entertaining when there's a guy that's super
funnier too.
super, like, look at like Brock Lesnar. It's when there's a big scary guy at the top that's just destroying people. Like, that's when it's most fun. So I think as much as people do respect Cain, it's kind of like Adesanya and Silva. As much as they respect the old fighter, it's kind of cool to see, like, oh, athleticism, like, oh, here's a guy from Africa that just could do things that we can't even imagine.
Punch through brick walls.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right,
lock of the week time. We're going against each other on 2 this week because I lined up that Andrea KGB and Ashley Evans Smith fight, minus 165. Really, this isn't based... So, all the reasons that you listed were a little nerve-wracking. The thing that I thought kind of said... What I do trust...
Is her racism. And that's why you're betting.
No.
Nick, big pro racism guy.
No, that is not true. No. Andrea Lee, like, at least has shown, granted not against the same competition, ability to, like, think. Like, okay, look, Macedo's a lot smaller. I can bully her. That's what I should do. Ashley Evans Smith, like, in almost all of her fights historically, is devoid of fight IQ.
Yeah,
like,
no, she just wants to brawl.
Yeah, like, literally, whatever, it just forward, hurricane hands, sometimes shoot takedowns, but then if it's working, maybe stop doing that because, I don't know, I kind of want to punch people. And I think, again, probably another close fight. The emotional thing does not help, as we've seen, Rich Rostovich. And also, the size thing, she'll be fighting somebody up her size, so it'll actually kind of be like a genuine 125 fight. But I really am banking on the fact that it's just, it will literally be a little bit of tactics. Like, I think KGB is, didn't really show too well on the feet, but I'm chalking that up to UFC jitters.
True.
Does have solid, if you look at her other fights, like, the technique is there on the feet, which Ashley Evans Smith doesn't have. So I think it's cleaner. Whether or not it's KO stopping power, it's not, is another story entirely. But I'm looking for fight IQ to save the day. I have a lot of mine, like, pretty much all the fights that I have that are not Kron Gracie, I'm looking at them to be 2 rounds to 1. Yeah. This is another one. Same story, but I gotta imagine, like, I don't see this getting finished either, but this was another one that was like minus 280 on the over. Yeah. And it's like a lot of heavy, I mean, I feel like it's going to be there, but if you miss one of these overs on this card, you're fucked. So that's why I didn't take any. But yeah, I think it's going to come down to IQ, and I'm just trusting KGB to, because Ashley Evans Smith has a 0, I'm just going with track record. 0 track record of making intelligent fight decisions. some track record of making intelligent fight decisions. I'm going to take a little bit over nothing.
And full disclosure, like the fight that I'm basing this prediction off was Evan Smith against Beck Rawlings, who has a 7-7 record. Not the best. It's very easy to look good when you're going against a fighter
who
that's
also
not
just
that
wants
great.
to brawl with.
Yeah,
you. But
exactly.
It could be true. I mean, like, she is huge.
Yeah,
it
she's
very
a big
well
broad.
could throw her around. And it's not even that. Like, I would probably argue she's realistically probably a better wrestler, but most of the time just chooses, like, I don't feel like wrestling. Or, like, when it's advantageous for her to strike, she's like, I really feel like wrestling. And it just makes no fucking sense. And I'm just trusting KGB to capitalize on mass confusion in the Evan Smith corner.
That just shows to see like how razor thin like this whole card is, where it's like that's the, like I've never felt less confident of like my locks of the week.
This by far is the least. I was gonna say Crone too, but that
the guy's only had 4 fights. It's crazy to make like your lock of the week
like the janitors for Risen. So.
No, well, my lock of the week is going to come in another chick fight, too. It's going to be Cynthia Calvillo versus Courtney Casey.
That was even on this card.
Yeah, I was almost, like, dead sure that was going to be your lock of the week, too.
I totally forgot that was on this card.
It's a very boring pick, and I think it might be, like, one of the biggest favorites on the card. Yeah, minus 365.
But rightfully so.
Calvillo is a good wrestler, and usually when there's a good wrestler against a bad wrestler, and like, no offense, Courtney Casey,
does not do it justice. Like non-existent.
Just very,
porous
very bad
wrestling defense.
So,
like Michelle Watterson, excellent fighter.
Yeah,
needs there to be a 105 division. Should not be at 150.
Yeah,
she's like 5'2", like so tiny.
Put her in my pocket.
Yeah, and took Courtney Casey down.
Ease.
Like there was, and it's like and Courtney Casey I would say is bigger. Like she's on the bigger side of 115.
Yeah.
So you have somebody that's like could probably do 120, maybe do 120, at least could do like catches at 120.
Yeah.
And Michelle Watterson with ease, like not much resistance. You get that's why, scrambler like Calvillo. It's like
knife cutting through butter. Her defense is going to be just non-existent. So I'm hoping that she ends up just being smart. Although Calvillo is the type of girl that
has access to grind.
Yeah, she does. So she wants to prove something. I could totally see her just throwing the game plan out the window.
Overhand right time.
Yep. And just trying to like box this girl's up and when she's cleared to be wrestling. But if she does the right moves, fights the fight that she should, I think she wrestles her and wins an easy decision.
She should be watching game film of Randy Couture and James Toney.
Yeah.
For like just on loop. Like just go out and just Smith single. That's all you're gonna do. Just immediately. Don't even bother putting your hands up. Just put a singlet on and get out there.
It also doesn't help, like after that Esparza fight that Calvillo lost, like how she acted. I just have this mental image ingrained that Calvillo is just a mental midget, and she just gets inside her own.
Fuck that other chick up like right after that though.
I know, but in my head I've just been like, I think after that fight I audibly said. I was by myself. I was betting on the fight. All I said, I am never betting on Calvillo again. And here we are, having her my lock of the week. But other than that, like I said, there is a lot of fights on this card that I am excited to bet about.
A lot more money to be lost.
I'm not exactly sure I'm going to be coming out on top once
this
I bet.
This will be a tough week. We got to get
top to bottom,
this week.
But it's going to be fun. Like I said, Sunday nights, chef's kiss. There's nothing better than just sitting back. Chasing the scaries away with just people beating each other's brains in.
For 7.5 hours because it's a UFC broadcast.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, tune in next week and let us know any bets that you think are winners, and we'll give you guys a shout out. They're good. Only if they're good.
Basically, we'll do it retroactively after they win. If they lose, you're going to get shit on.
Yeah. Oh, we'll shit on you big time. All right, guys. Take it easy. Peace.